Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to Audio Unicorn today. I thought I will cover different ideas for podcast or radio segments. I know content creation can be challenging and often we want to come up with something that is creative and so amazingly inspiring and engaging for our audience. And podcast offers a great opportunity to actually give that to your listeners. So I have some ideas for potential segments that you can create. Number one is live guest call. So this is where you take a call from your podcast listener live on the show, just as you are recording. So I know it can be quite tricky to arrange and it won't work for everyone, but if you do your podcast or a radio show live, you can definitely invite people to dial in as you do at a certain hour. You can obviously post edit it later on, but it's a great way to engage with your community. Number two, random fact. Everyone loves a random fact. Obviously, that random fact would be closely associated with your niche, perhaps. And then, hopefully you can conduct it in a very light-hearted manner. Number three, recent review. Again, a brilliant way to engage your audience. Read out a review that somebody made for you recently on iTunes or other platform. It's a fantastic way to thank the audience for doing so. What I would also encourage to do, that obviously requires a little bit of an effort and budget, but what I would encourage to do is just say to everyone, hey, if I read your review on my podcast, I'm going to send you a t-shirt or a mug. You can have mugs with your podcast logo created. So you can say, if I read it out and you hear it, drop me an email and with your address and I will send it out. It encourages people to leave reviews. Hey, everyone loves reviews, and it shows great social proofs. We all need reviews for sure. B, it gives people incentive to do so. And C, it actually shows that you are actively engaging with your community, which is the number one important thing you need to be looking at. Idea number four, tech news. Obviously, want to be relevant to every niche, but you could cover tech news relevant to your industry. An example, if you are running a podcast about diabetes, you could have a segment that covers recent technology developments. If you have a podcast about dogs or dog walking, again, this segment could be something to do with recent tech developed specifically for dogs, right? For example, but plenty of that around, and it keeps your audience interested to tune in when the podcast comes out, because then that information is most relevant. I know some of you may wonder and worry that, do I want this to be kind of like not forever valid, if that makes sense, because if you are covering piece of news in 2018, that's certainly not going to be piece of news in 2019. I think it is important to do it because, it just shows you are active within the community and your niche, but do keep it brief. Segments like that really don't need to be more than 2 or 3 minutes in length, so that if somebody does listen in the future, it's not too much of a problem for them to tune in and keep listening on. Another one is simple Q&A. So this is where you could be answering questions. Again, encourage your community to engage with you and send questions along so that, you could just have a place on the website where you say, hey, if you have a question to me, send it over. We use SpeakPipe, by the way, fantastic. You can just send a voice message from any device. It could be computer or your phone. And then you can play it on the podcast and say, hey, look, this is somebody from, so-and-so, and he's recorded a question. Let's play it. And you play the question and then you answer it. It shows that real human aspect of your podcast, which I think is great. Another one is inspirational quote. Again, not every podcast will find the right place for it, but I think certainly a huge group of podcasts would definitely benefit from that. Something like inspirational quote, inspirational thought, something to leave you for the day with, that kind of stuff. So I think that genuinely has a place to live in certain niches. Another one is a super tool. I do produce some podcasts and I really like it. I think that's actually really, really cool and a nice way to accumulate a lot of feedback from people who are like you. So if you are listening to a marketing podcast and you are a marketer, you want to kind of gauge as to what is the super tool for other marketers so that you can use it too. For example, again, this can be adapted to any niche. Another one could be something like, we call it a time traveler. So it could be something like if you have a lot of episodes already in the bank, you could link back to some of the episodes you've already recorded and encourage people to go back and listen by simply giving a show preview of what you've discussed in the past. So yeah, we call it a time travel or time traveler or time episode, whatever. Social media fan, get a hashtag even started, and then read out messages from people who use it. Again, a fantastic way to engage community, which you will hear me saying over and over and over. 2019 is the time to engage with your community. If you are not doing so, you are not doing this right. And the final one is a simple book recommendation, or it doesn't have to be a book. It could be a specific tool recommendation. It just depends on your niche. Again, I absolutely love that. The number of podcasts I listen to that relate to marketing, every time somebody recommends the book and I'm thinking, oh, this sounds like a good one, I just put it on my Amazon list. I have a specific Amazon list for the books I would like to read, and it just goes there. And then every time I finish my big pile of books, there it goes. I've got it, a new pile very quickly can be replaced. So that's 10 ideas for you, and I really hope that those can help you engage better with your audience, that they can help you have more meaningful conversations with your audience, and inspire you to do something amazing. So happy creating, and please do share with me in the comments the ways in which you utilize segments in your podcast. Do you have segments that really work for you and that you would love to share with others? Please do. Thanks so much.